Hey everyone, on this episode of Virtual GM, Cody and I talk about events again. We wrap up the HD Expo that just finished in Las Vegas, Nevada. We talk about both of our hospitality experiences, one in Mexico, one in Hawaii, and what hotel owners can learn from those experiences. And then 4 tips to prevent angry guests or how to handle them if they do get angry. We're rolling.
We're going now.
I'm keeping that in.
Okay, all right, here we go. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Winning the Moment with Spencer Halford and Cody
We're
Adent.
winning the moment today?
Nope. Okay.
What a great man. We missed
Run that back.
No, we're keeping that in too.
Yeah, we'll leave it, but I'll still do a real intro. Welcome to another episode of Virtual GM. We are your hosts, Cody Adent and Spencer Halford. Today, we've got some special stuff for you. You're going to want to stick around to the end. We're going to give you your 4 best practices to avoid angry customers and how to handle them if it happens. So that's obviously super important in hospitality. And actually, kudos to Mallory from Blue Form Media. It was her idea last week.
Shout out Mallory.
Big shout out to Blue Form Media, our podcast team, coming up with a great idea for us. So we're excited for that.
Shout out to Sean Cannell too.
Of course.
Yep.
And so let's go ahead and just start with our segue. Spencer, you want to kick it off?
Yeah. Had a really awesome, kind of crazy week. Got back from Hawaii this week, so that would be my personals. Had a really amazing vacation in Hawaii, went to the Big Island. Had never been there before. It's a really great island if you love hiking, which was super cool. We love hiking. Went to Volcanoes National Park, which was amazing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, went through the lava tubes. There's a really cool winery at the top of that.
Wow.
The wine was gross. The winery was cool.
That it tastes like lava?
No, they don't use grapes. They only have one.
Oh.
They only have one wine with grapes. And that one was actually okay. It was like mid.
So what do they make it out of?
They have like this fruit on the island, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a grape and a cherry had a child.
Interesting.
It's very sweet. So we got some and just had them in our hotel room, and they were good. Like I really like the taste of them.
As in the fruit or as in the wine?
The fruit.
The fruit was good.
Yeah, but it is very sweet. It's a very, very, very sweet
Interesting.
fruit. So they make it with that, and then they like throw like macadamia nuts in it, or like bees, or like a big thing in Hawaii. So they had like
honey.
Hawaiian honey.
Yeah.
And so it just like, it tasted like syrup. And yeah. So the experience was cool. Like it was fun to go up to the top of All Volcano, see the vineyard, have that wine.
Did you get to see lava, like actual live lava?
No. And it's hard to see like actual real lava right now. It has to be like flowing or actively erupting. But
Otherwise
erupting doesn't mean like it's exploding,
Sure.
right? It just means like there's some lava right?
flowing.
But we did see the steam vents. The steam vents are active right now, which is cool. And you can go stand in that steam, and you can be in it for 3 seconds, and it feels like you got like a full bath. Kayla went and stood in it for 20 seconds and came out drenched.
Wow.
It was like it was a rainstorm.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so we did that. That was, the whole vacation was great. Unfortunately, our flight got canceled the night of. We were supposed to leave. We felt
What airline were you on?
United.
Oh,
which
so it may have been a strike.
No, it was actually one of the pilots got sick.
Oh, because the United had a pilot strike that same day, like a full picket.
Really?
Yeah, because my father-in-law's a pilot, and we're telling him the story, and he was like, oh, that was the day that we picketed. He was like, so I wonder. So
maybe it was a strike, and
maybe they just said he was
sick.
I bet you it was the strike, because it was that day.
Wow.
So none of the pilots flew. So there's a chance that's what it was.
It could have been that. We fell asleep on a patch of grass because we're in the Kona airport, and the whole airport's outside.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, there's no closed doors in that airport except for this. There's like this little cafe or whatever. And so we were at that cafe having some drinks, playing a couple card games. And then we had been in the airport for like 3 hours because we read online that Kona Airport has the longest TSA line in America, and it takes forever to get through because they only have 2 stations.
Oh.
Wrong. You can get through that thing super quick, even with a line.
Interesting.
We showed up and there was no line.
That's
we were
the
only
worst.
people in there. So we got there. We're like, damn it. Like, we'll just go have some drinks and play some games.
Yeah.
But we were there for like 3 hours. There's only so much beer you can drink.
Yeah.
So then we're like, let's go lay down on that patch of grass out there. So we're laying on the patch of grass. We both knock out and fall asleep. And I was like, okay, I've got a pretty good judge. Like, I'll wake up. We'll be ready to go. Correct. We woke up with like 10 minutes till boarding. And as soon as we woke up, someone was walking around. It's like, your flight got canceled. And I was like, oh, well, when did it get moved to? And they're like, 11:58. And I was like, what are you talking? That's today. Like, that's only in an hour.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you have to leave and come back. And I was like, no, we don't. Like, that is in an hour. Why would I leave the airport to come back in an hour? They're like, no, it's 11:58 tomorrow.
Oh.
But they moved it to 11:58, which means that we would have missed our connecting flight.
Oh, right. So where did they move you? Did they put you in a hotel then?
No.
What?
Had to go get our own hotel.
They didn't put you in a hotel?
There was no vouchers because United's policy is that it has to be a 12-hour change, and that was an 11-hour and 30-minute change.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine?
Wow, that's terrible.
Horrible. But we did get a hotel, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in the podcast. This hotel was actually awesome.
Really?
Yeah, they were.
Was it a Hilton?
No, there was a Hilton on that side, and I didn't realize that until after booking this hotel. It was like it's a Hilton Grand Vacations Club.
Oh, okay,
like
yeah. But there's a lot of those in Hawaii.
Yeah, loads. So I actually was kind of glad it wasn't a Hilton. I got to experience another. It was another independent.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the Royal Kona Resort.
Sweet.
And it was actually dope. And then I was asking, I was like, who owns this? So I was like pitching the front desk lady.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Royal Kona Resort. If you're listening, what's up? So anyways, and then Kayla got super sick that last day.
Oh no.
It was almost like she had COVID. No energy, throat hurt so bad that she wouldn't even talk.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, so then, like, I mean, just to have the flight pulled out from under us was a bummer. But all in all, had a really amazing trip to Hawaii. The DoubleTree that we stayed at was amazing. A really great hotel. Probably the best.
Did you walk the pool?
We didn't walk it, but I would consider them about the same. We did say, though, we're like, we need to walk the pool.
Yeah.
But looking at it, yours is deeper. How
6.5 feet.
Yeah, there's just 4.5.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty common in hotels to not have it be deep unless it's an older hotel.
Yeah, so that is an older hotel. That hotel has been there since like the early 1900s.
Oh wow!
It survived a tsunami. It has it's been through 10 different hands of ownership, but it's always kept the same name.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's just recent that it became a DoubleTree.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my segue. I had a great trip to Hawaii and very glad to be back here on the mainland. And then business, we just continue to grow. We added an events company to our portfolio this week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Document signed. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw they looked at it. I didn't think they signed it yet.
Done deal.
Sweet.
Ink Stride.
That's great.
Yeah. So that's Powder Mountain. Again, the co-founder of Netflix. Just keeps making moves for us. Wants to keep working with us, and I honestly don't blame him. Pretty amazing. So yeah, that's amazing. We just continue to keep growing, and good things are happening at Vibrant.
That's great. All right, so for my segue, I went to Cabo for my birthday and Megan and I's 12-year anniversary, which was a funny story too. I was supposed to stay at the Hilton Los Cabos, and I never stayed there before, and it's a great resort. It's on the beach. I was excited. And so the day before, I was like messaging the hotel saying like, hey, what kind of upgrades do you have? What can I do? You don't even know this story yet.
No, I don't.
Oh, this is
Must
great.
be a good one.
Yeah, you have no idea. So I'm messaging the hotel saying like, what kind of upgrades can I get? And like, oh, we have a plunge pool that you can upgrade to. And
That's
it's
cool.
like, yeah, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
sweet. This is great.
Plunge pool's great.
And they're like, it'll be $400 some a night. And I was like, oh, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, that's strange.
That's quite expensive for an upgrade. I think you're confused on how an upgrade works. And so I got online and looked it up, and I could book that room, okay,
right
for $1,800 for the weekend. And they were going to charge me $1,400 for the upgrade. Plus, I paid for transportation.
$1,400 for
total.
the upgrade?
Total. Okay.
Wow. Okay. So that doesn't make any sense.
So $1,400 for the upgrade. Plus, I was paying for transportation to the airport, which was another $300. So $1,700 versus $1,800, and $1,800 included the transportation. So I was like, I'm sorry, sir, but like I could just go book this room for basically the same price that you're charging me for an upgrade,
right? And
I already have a great room. So it's not like the room I have was like a base level room. So I don't understand. Like, just let me have this room.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all.
And so then after that, he's like, well, you can just book it directly then. And I was like, this is on the Hilton website and you are Hilton. It's the same thing.
Right.
And I can't cancel my reservation because it's tomorrow.
Who are you speaking to? Like, he's just started working there 2 days ago? Like, what's going on?
So then he's like, well, then he says, well, I talked to my manager and the best we could do was like this price. So it did drop a little bit. And I was like, and also then I don't get any of the perks because that room had like a bunch of perks. Like you got a bottle of tequila and a couple of other things like throughout every day.
What?
And then so then I could get it, but without the perks. Okay. And I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And then they looked up the room type, and the price of that room was literally the same price as what my room was. So I was like, well, then just let me have that room. Like, oh no, we can't do that. And I said, sir, I manage a curio. Like, you could make the room $0
I know
if
for
you
a
want.
fact that you can do that.
Like, you 100% can do this. Like, no, we're sorry, but our manager did say you can cancel your reservation. And so then I was like, I've never experienced this kind of hospitality from a Hilton in my life.
Never.
You know, like, I don't know what's going on there, but it's not good. And so now I'm pissed. So I pull up Go Hilton, and I'm like, at this point, I'll stay at a Hampton Inn. You know, like, I'm not staying there. And there's this amazing resort in Cabo called the Petrogal. It's a Waldorf. And it is the #1 resort in Mexico, and it's like a top 5 resort in the world. I've always wanted to stay there.
Nice.
Every single room has a plunge pool. It's like built into the caves. On the podcast, we'll have to like pull up the episode for it. Mallory, you should look it up right now. It'll blow your mind.
Say the name again.
It's the Waldorf Astoria in Cabo. It's called the Petrogal.
Okay.
Look it up, and if you can put it on the screen so Spencer can see it, that'd be cool. And
Did you
so
do that?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Dope.
And so it is like this resort I've always wanted to go to. In fact, when Megan and I were looking at it, I showed it to her and I said, this is where I'd really like to stay. It's just impossible.
But it's out of bounds.
Out of bounds, yeah. Never going to get a good rate.
Yeah.
The points are always like
It's like the Waldorf in
extraordinary.
Beverly Hills.
Yeah,
It's never going to happen.
And this is probably Waldorf's flagship property. I mean, it is the #1 property in Mexico.
Okay.
Top 5 in the world. Okay. So it was like, well, out of bounds. So I look it up and it's $1,500 a night. I'm like, oh, of course. But I'm like, I'm going to look at it anyway, see what the points are. Because it was the day before, the points were the exact same as the hotel I just paid for.
What?
So I had another reservation. I canceled it, and then I booked that before I'd even gotten the other one canceled.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm not missing this.
No
so
way.
we got to stay at the Waldorf, which was just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, the level of customer service was out of this world. So you drive, it's right next to downtown, but they burrowed a tunnel through the mountain, and so you drive through like a 2-mile long tunnel, and then you just come out, and it's just the ocean, just like right there. Like the lobby's all just open air, right over to the ocean, and the customer service was out of this world. Right, like they brought you cornitos and chips and guacamole every day, and because it was our anniversary and our birthday, like the first time we went to lunch. As we're walking out, the waiter came. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we forgot to celebrate. Happy anniversary." He just poured us 2 glasses of champagne. Then the next morning at breakfast, they brought us the best French toast I've ever had, and it had like happy anniversary on it.
So cool.
The hostess knew her name every time we showed up for breakfast, like just by looking at us, which is
Don't
like
you love that? I had that
it's-
experience in Mexico too.
It is just
It's
like
amazing.
it just blows you away, you know.
Yeah.
And like the day beds were incredible. They were like really like beds, and they would go and set it up for you. And they had these fitted towels that wrapped around it, so the whole thing had a towel on it. And then as soon as you sat down, they'd set up your umbrella for you. They'd bring you over water. I mean, everything was just
and they're bringing drinks. The pool service is going to be unreal.
Everything
Mexico's
was just
a different thing,
yeah.
man.
And being at the
That's so
Waldorf was
cool.
just a whole nother level. Like the room.
Wow.
And so we had a plunge pool that looked off onto the ocean out of a room. It was just like the most incredible experience ever.
It's amazing.
And then like what really blew me away too is even on the way home. So they took us back to the airport, and as we're going in, like you normally pull up next to the doors.
Yep.
And he like backs into this thing. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then he's like, Herman will help you. So they had a Waldorf employee waiting at the curb when we arrived at the airport to go home. And he grabs our bags, takes them over to the machine, puts on our stuff, puts on our luggage tags, walks us up to the desk to drop the luggage off, and then escorts us to security, and then wishes us a happy trip home.
What?
I mean, the level of customer service was just out of bounds. Truly amazing. I'll show you the pictures and stuff
That
after,
is
and I'll show you the video of the
amazing.
tunnel because it is insane. Mallory, did you look it up?
I did. I don't have the display port plugged into the TV right now,
But how cool is it?
but I can cut in pictures and post.
It's amazing, right?
It looks amazing.
Oh.
So
Wow.
I'm gonna do that at some point.
Yes, put it on your bucket list.
Beautiful.
So we just had the
That's
most
so cool.
amazing trip ever. And so it all worked out for the best, you know? And the fact that I got that for the same price. And then, so everything at the Waldorf, as per usual, was like outrageously expensive. Like we got 2 coffees one day, and it was $55. So that part wasn't great.
Okay.
But so everything was outrageous except
it's
for
not
this.
all inclusive?
No.
What?
Mm-mm.
Oh, well,
No.
that's strange.
And Breck thought the same thing. He was like, oh no, I just read it's not all inclusive. I was like, oh yeah, I knew that. He's like, thank goodness. Could you imagine how devastated you would have been
that'd
had
be
you
terrible.
expected it to be and it wasn't?
Right.
And so everything was
I
outrageous.
mean, I guess you got it on points though. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it all worked out.
yeah.
But everything was outrageous except for this one thing. So they had this yacht you could rent.
Okay.
For $1,600, you could take it out for 2 hours and do a sunset cruise.
Dope.
And it was a 60-foot yacht with like two cabins in it. And it was like, oh, this would be so cool. But obviously $1,600 is outrageous.
That's absurd.
And then the next morning we get a text from our concierge, who our concierge was like communicating with us back and forth every single day.
Arnold level.
Yeah, it was incredible. So her name was Karen. She's communicating with us every day. And then I get this text message like, oh, do the sunset cruise on the yacht tonight. And I was like, yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
But no, like,
Right.
thanks, but no thanks. And so then I went back and looked at it and I was like, wait a minute, this is only $150 a person.
What are you talking, 1,600 pesos?
No. It was normally 1,600, but for some reason they let like couples just do it. And so Breck and V had called the resort, and for my birthday, they'd given us a credit at the resort.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
we were like, oh my God, let's do it, you know?
Yeah.
And so we got to go have that exact same experience.
Cool.
For like the price of a couple coffees. You know? And we met these amazing couples on the yacht. One of the people that we met was is the finance guy behind the development company of the Curio in Nashville.
Oh, wow.
So it's like we made this amazing connection and got to go do the sunset cruise on the Waldorf yacht. It was like the most
amazing.
And I was laughing.
Wow.
I was like, at the Waldorf, you can either get 2 coffees and lunch, or you can go on a yacht for 2 hours.
Yeah,
Same
right.
price. So that was a really cool experience. And then for work, we had the HD Expo this week in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
First time we'd ever been to that, and that was obviously really cool. So obviously a little bit of a long segue there, as we had some cool stuff to share, but I'll kind of jump into the HD Expo and talk a little bit about it. So this was, I think you found this event, right? How did we come up?
No,
about this?
HD Expo, Jordan told us about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jordan, who is one of our clients up in Oregon, the 505, he was going to it, and he's a designer by trade. Like, that's what he does. You know, he's an amazing designer, build these
Custom
incredible
homes.
luxury homes, has built these really cool properties in Oregon.
So he was featured in HDTV.
Yeah, just
or
amazing.
HGTV. Yeah, they put him on the cover of a magazine.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So we got the chance to go because really to meet him, that was like our main reason to go, is he was coming to us and we got to go have an opportunity to meet him in person. And so we went to the expo on Wednesday and they had some amazing stuff there. And they had these really great speakers too. So they shared some really cool concepts and like things to be aware of in hospitality and trends and immersive design. And it was actually really informative. And what was also cool is RDC, which is the design firm that we used for one of our property renovations that we're turning into a tapestry. They were also there. And so we got to go have lunch with them and meet them in person, which is cool because we've been working with them for like 16 months or something, but all through Zoom. So we finally got to meet them in person, which was great, and go to lunch, and Jordan got to go to that with us. But what's so cool is it was a great illustration of why you hire professionals.
Yeah.
Because we were at this expo where there's all this amazing stuff for your properties, right? And Breck and I found these amazing cement tubs that are like a huge cement bathtub that you can have in any color. And we were like, oh, this could be really cool for our domes project.
Cool.
Like as instead of the plunge pools, like we could do this.
Right.
Let's see how much they are, right? And so we're talking to the guy, and he's like, "Oh, it'll be $15,000 a tub." And even that, I was like, "Oh, that's great." Like,
yeah, because the plunge pools were 50.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so obviously the plunge pool is a little bit cooler, but this tub is actually really cool also.
Yeah, the aesthetic of it could actually match our project really well.
Yes. In fact, I have it. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so super cool.
15K, that's it?
If you can see that, super cool. And so we're like, oh, this is awesome. 15,000, like that is such a cool feature.
That's great.
Well, then RDC was like, oh, well, let me go talk to him. Got it down to $6,500.
Okay, so plunge pool's out.
So that is why it's so important to hire professionals, because so RDC will charge you a fee for procurement, right?
Sure.
But it's very black and white with them. Like, you know exactly, here's what the thing costs. Here's what
our
we charge you to
procurement
get the
cost.
thing.
Yeah.
Here's what your cost is, right? So it's
Yeah.
not like there's any...
Was 6,500 with the procurement?
No, but even then, their procurement's a small percentage, so it wouldn't be that much, right?
Great. Wow.
But the example there was like,
Loan
wow.
gets lower and lower.
Yes. Having professionals, hiring professionals always pays for itself, right? Because just in that alone, so let's say that we were going to do 20 domes.
Yeah.
Well, that would be $300,000
Yep.
in those tubs
Those
if we
plunge
did
pools.
those, right?
Yep.
And now you just cut that down to more than half.
Yeah.
So it went from like 300,000 down to like
It's down to
125,000.
almost a quarter of the cost.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
amazing.
like that in itself is a great illustration. And it was so cool to see that, because like had we gone and just been ourselves and talked to all these vendors, we obviously don't know what to say or the lingo that they're using or
Yep.
the relationships or the buying power. And so by having a professional design firm like that, huge savings.
It's amazing. Wow. I can't believe that you found those. Did you find anything else that would be good for that?
We found these really cool blinds that were automatic. That could be really cool. We found these.
Do you think they'd work in domes?
The way that these ones were, there were places that we could use them and utilize them.
Cool.
And then we found these really cool glass railing things that would be awesome. So you could have them, like there were these railings that you could pull up and they'd stop at any point. So like if you wanted to be on your balcony, but it was super windy, it would just be like a glass railing and then you could pull it up and now you'd be completely covered.
Smart. But because it's glass, you can still see, you get the view still.
Very cool.
Wow, that's cool.
And then we found these amazing cement structures. This wouldn't be for the domes necessarily. This would be more for like Narif. But look at these. That's all built out of cement. And so you can custom design all these amazing things. And they're like made of styrofoam in the center, so they're not heavy.
Yeah.
But it's just this absolutely stunning design. And so they showed us all these cool examples of how you can use those. So that was really cool.
We could even use that at the domes for like the entryway.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, it was very, very cool. So definitely worth going to. But again, having that professional there, like with you to help the process is certainly worth it.
Totally.
So that's kind of the breakdown of the HD Expo. So it made me more excited for the hospitality show because that was just like a little precursor, and it was huge. It was at the Mandalay Bay, and their event, I'd never been in their event center. Yeah. I was shocked at the size of it. I mean, it was
big.
Massive.
Really? I've only been in the event center at the Caesars.
I mean, even just the hallway was, I don't know, 50 feet across, like the main hallway around. So it was like, they just didn't spare any expense. You know, it was truly amazing.
Jeez.
And then we took Jordan out for dinner. He was staying at the Cosmo. And so we went to Beauty in Essex. If you haven't been, I highly recommend it. Really, really cool restaurant. You walk into a pawn shop. And so you're in a pawn shop and then there's a door and you go into that and it leads you into this amazing restaurant. So it's kind of like speakeasy style.
That's cool.
And then it's all of these like mixed like you shared plates with little small tiny bites
that are tapas.
Yeah, that are just amazing. So I had a great experience there. And then the Cosmopolitan has the chandelier bar in the middle of it.
Cool.
And they've got this drink that makes your mouth go numb. So it's got this flour that you eat. So you take a sip of the drink and then you eat this flour and then you take another sip of the drink and it is like having Pop Rocks and a Warhead like in your mouth and like you lose the feeling.
Why would you want to do that?
Because it's fun.
How long does it stay numb for?
I don't know, 4 minutes.
Oh, okay. It was 4 minutes. I thought, remember when I went to the dentist and my face was numb for like 5 hours? I don't want that.
And what's funny is I'd done it before because Allison from our team had taken me because she experienced it and she's like, you got to do this. Okay. So then I did it. So when I told Megan we're going to the Cosmopolitan, she's like, you got to get the drink. And I was like, oh, you're right. And so I told him after dinner, I was like, do you want to go get this fun drink? And he's like, is it the one that makes your mouth go numb? And he had looked it up the night before, like best unique drinks to get
He's not
in
a
Vegas.
big drink guy either.
No, he's not. But he was willing to like try the stuff, you know? So that was really fun. So overall, it was a great experience, great expo, and to have that time with Jordan.
So you'd recommend it?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think we would go again next year?
I don't know because I think in most of our projects we'll utilize a design firm. Yeah. And so it's like really built for them.
Sure.
But that one was so affordable at only $150. Like just to even get to go hear the speakers of what they talked about, it's probably worth it. Yeah. Okay. Because we're so close.
You know, I realized we forgot to mention an event the last time we were on this podcast, which would be the Utah Tourism Conference.
Oh, yeah. Registration's open for that right now. You get early bird registration.
And they called us out on it, too. They put us on their Instagram story.
They did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, UTA put us on their Instagram story talking about the hospitality show.
That's right, because I tagged them in the...
Oh, did you?
In the hospitality show post.
Yeah, so if you're a hotel in Utah, you definitely, or just anyone in hospitality.
Anyone, yeah. If you're a tour operator or restaurateur, anything.
Right. You should definitely go to the Utah Tourism Conference.
If your business is affected by tourism, which is pretty much everyone in Utah, then you should come to the event.
Yeah, unless you live in, I mean, basically everywhere.
Anywhere, yeah. We went to Vernal last year for it.
Yeah, Vernal is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But if you are any hospitality business in the state of Utah, you should definitely check out the Utah Tourism Conference. Last year was the first year I went. Completely rocked my socks. It was amazing. This year it's in St. George. And are you looking up the dates for it?
Yeah.
I'll bet Mallory beats you to it.
We'll see about that.
Dang it. Mallory had so much confidence.
Okay, so it's Tuesday, September 26th through Friday the 29th.
Cool.
Here at St. George at the Dixie Convention Center.
Yeah, I thought it was there. Yeah. We will be there. Come say hi to us. Maybe it'd be dope to have a little podcast set up there.
That would be cool.
That'd be cool.
Adam wouldn't love that.
Mallory's in. No, we're competing with that.
Adam, sorry, this is our turf.
Yeah. You get Vernal, we get St. George.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
That's actually a great idea. Yeah, so you can go to utah.tourism.org to register, and they are doing early bird registration right now. So definitely worth jumping on there early to get that going.
Yeah, I thought it was actually a really transformative conference.
It's always
I
been.
learned a lot from
It's
it.
always been one of the best ones that I've been to. You know, the keynote speaker is always good. The networking is amazing. Any player who's anyone in tourism is going to be there. So if you're trying to make, especially if you're new and you're trying to make relations and connections and meet the people you need to meet, this is the place to go. And everyone is so willing to be supportive of each other. So if like you reach out, everyone is going to be willing to help support you.
Yeah, and we're a mid-sized management company and glean a lot of value from it. But just to put it in perspective, we work with a one-man show tour operator who takes luxury tours out of Moab.
Right.
He goes every year and reaps a tremendous amount of
And
value from
that's where we met him.
it. Correct.
We met him at the first one in Vernal like 6 years ago, and have had a relationship and a friendship with
And
him
he's
ever
been going
since.
hard ever since those last 6 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. That's great. I'm glad you said that. That's so important to bring
Yeah, I
up.
totally forgot that. I needed to
So you
address
had
that.
something you wanted to share about your experience in Hawaii.
Yeah. So we stayed at Hilton. It was a DoubleTree. What is DoubleTree? Is that a 3.5, 2.5?
It's like right below like
Three?
the Curio and Tapestry. Like it's
probably
like
like
it's like 3.5 is probably about what it is. And they're unique where they can have some soft brands, like how yours had a unique name and an experience, and the one in Park City, the Yarrow, is a DoubleTree but individually branded. So they've got a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah. So we stayed at the Grand Naniloa. It's in Hilo, which is that's like the wet side of the island. It's like green rainforest. It's beautiful. And this hotel's right on the ocean. And these guys were awesome. Like the guest service was amazing.
Did you get your cookies?
They offered the cookies, but
Oh yeah.
I'm allergic to dairy and
Shoot.
yeah.
They're so delicious. Yummy.
They smelled yummy. Yeah. So no, they offered the cookies. We did not get the cookies, but I mean, they really went for a DoubleTree. They did go above and beyond.
Yeah.
There was champagne waiting for us in the room on ice, and it was like good, high quality champagne too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which like that trip was for mine and Kayla's birthday, but really like my birthday was a month ago, right? Like, and hers was on the 1st. So
Yeah, so really it was for Kayla's.
correct. Yeah. So like I called ahead and I spoke with the GM, and she was awesome and did a really great job helping me prepare for a birthday trip. So
That's cool.
There was champagne in the room, and they hooked me up with a local company that would deliver flowers, and they were like local Hawaiian flowers.
Oh, sweet.
And I could put in requests for these flowers, right? Like specific kinds that I knew that Kayla would like, and got balloons that were delivered, right? Like they really made, like we went above and beyond to make it like a really special thing. And so I was really appreciative of that. But what was so funny is like they put so much attention into the really big stuff, right? Like the entrance to that hotel is big and grandiose. And,
Yeah.
they have these big sliding glass planes, so it feels like you're outside. You know, you walk into the lobby and boom, the ocean's right there.
Yeah.
Right? They have this giant bronze statue of someone doing the hula, right? Hula dancing. I don't know if you call it doing the hula or whatever. But
What's the proper vernacular
I
for
have no idea.
doing the hula?
The action of hulaing. I don't know. There's this really nice bar there, and down by the pool, there's another bar and a restaurant. Their facilities were really great. Their pool was a little, it missed. They don't heat it, which I was like, come on, guys.
I hate that. I hate when resort communities don't have any heating in their pool,
Right.
and it's like not quite warm enough, and so it's
That's
miserable
exactly
to get
what
in.
it was.
Yeah, I've been to resorts that I hate that.
We, in the morning, we like put our fingers in it just to be like, okay, is it warm enough? And it felt warm. So we're like, great. So we ran upstairs, got our swimsuits on, came down. We got like waist deep. We're like, nope. Turned right around, went right back to the room. It's too cold. I mean, they did a lot of really great things. Their grounds were immaculate, but they really missed the mark on other things. And I don't want to dish on them, but I think this is applicable to all hotels, because I think you can get so caught up in the big picture that you miss the small picture. Like the exterior of the building looked like someone had paintballed it
Oh,
multiple
like
times.
because of dirt or what?
No, it was like big black, almost like tire spin out stains
Weird.
on the building. And the building's white. Right? It's like pearl white, like almost like the background behind you.
Yeah.
And all up and down the building, like not just within hand's reach, right? Like on the 9th floor of this thing, which is where we stayed, there's a smear mark, like probably a meter long, right? Like it's huge.
Interesting. You opted to go for the metric system.
I thought of a meter stick, and I was like, it's probably about that long.
We're in America, bro. It's a yard.
Don't you remember a meter stick in school?
no,
Come
I
on.
remember.
Remember, it was like, it wasn't quite. wasn't like, I don't know what to put it in.
I don't know what kind of school you went to. We had yardsticks at my
Look, man, I
school.
lived in Canada and the metric system is way better. Let's just get that straight. Okay. The metric system makes way more sense. All right. America's behind the times.
Oh, it's
let's
so
let's
funny.
just dial that in. Multiple meters, okay?
Okay, so we're talking like 6 feet.
Sure. Couldn't tell you. I don't know. Everywhere though, like it looked like someone had like gone wild with
So it's like they needed to power wash the building
yes.
or repaint it.
But either one, power washing would have done just fine. Or even like we had a balcony at the face of the ocean, and it was really cool. Like I had explained to Jamie, who's the GM, shout out to her. She really set up an awesome trip for us. I had explained like we're coming for a birthday. Some type of room with a balcony would be awesome.
Yeah.
And you really could get shafted at that hotel because I don't know if I can say that on this podcast. Whoops. It doesn't matter. They had rooms.
Well, there's always like the tropical views.
Dude, they had the parking lot views.
Yeah.
Like, I was not about the parking lot view. So I got a room with a balcony, and like you step out on the balcony, and there's like kind of a cement overhang to make it so like if it rained, you don't get rain on the balcony. And even that looked like maybe someone had like shot a gun filled with bugs at it, and they've like bug splattered on it.
Oh yeah, like all the webs and like all that chaos up there.
And lots of dead bugs
Yeah.
everywhere. And I was like, come on, like, can't we make this part of the cleaning? You know, like just small things. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of it was
It's amazing because like that bug is such a detractor to what would other, and then so instead of like you talking about this incredible ocean view,
right.
what you see is the bugs, right? And it's like
Right.
that's easy to fix. You just get a power washer up there, done.
Super easy to
Not
fix, right?
expensive, not time consuming.
Yep. Well, that's the first thing you see. Like you walk out the room, like I sent you and Breck that video.
Yeah,
Right. The first thing you see is the ocean.
Yeah.
But when you look at the ocean for 5 minutes, it's still the ocean. So then you
Yeah.
start looking around at the patio,
Yeah.
right? And you're like, okay, furniture looks good. We got this little table. What's that shit up there?
And then you don't even want to sit out there because then it feels like it's gross.
It's just kind of weird. You
Yeah.
know, like we spent a lot of time out there. It was just nice to chill out and relax. But like, it's always in the back of your head, like, yeah, it's a little grimy up there. Like, that's weird. And then like just other small things, like you could tell their linens had been used like years.
Oh yeah, it's got that feel to it.
Not even feel like there were like we checked in and there were stains on the linen.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was like almost.
So did you call and have them switched?
Certainly did.
Yeah.
Stains on those too.
Wow. Yeah, that's not great.
No. So I just think like there was a lot of expense put into.
Well, that's probably why that resort is always priced the way that it is.
I think it would have to be, and I also believe now after being there, it is kind of a pain to get to because
Yeah.
no one flies into Hilo. Like
Yeah.
our hotel was right next to the Hilo airport, and we saw like 5 planes
Interesting.
fly into that thing.
Yeah.
Right? More cruise ships came into that bay than planes landed.
Wow.
Yeah, and they were like big cruise ships. Right?
Yeah.
So that was cool. Like we got to see cruise ships coming through and stuff. But getting to Hilo is hard. There's only like we only saw private planes and a couple Hawaiian Airlines flights.
We need to get you to Mexico.
That literally we were talking about that. We're like, we need to go to Mexico. And so funny enough, I was looking on our Hilton rates there, and I found because my brother was like, hey, this was all last night. My brother was like, I get the last full week or the last week in August off. We should do something. And I was like, that's crazy because we were just talking about going to Mexico. Kayla loves Mexico, and I haven't been to Mexico since I was like 16.
Oh, Mexico's the best, dude.
Well, I found the Conrad in Puerto Vallarta.
Oh, yeah?
I was on team member that week.
No way.
Yes,
It's going to be hot as shit.
it is going to be hot as
But
shit.
the Conrad is amazing, and I love Puerto Vallarta. That's actually my favorite destination in Mexico is Puerto
Never
Vallarta.
been. I've only
It's
ever been
incredible.
to Cancun and Ensenada, but Ensenada's a shell.
Yeah, it
so-
doesn't count.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, Puerto Vallarta is amazing.
So
and the Conrad's amazing. Also not all-inclusive.
I figured it probably wasn't all inclusive, but so there's the Conrad, and then it seems like it's right next door. But there is the Hilton all inclusive is on Friends and Family at the same rate as the Conrad team member.
Oh, do the Hilton then, because by food and beverage, it'll
It'll pay for itself.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, man, in August it will be hot.
Oh, that Hilton all-inclusive in Puerto Vallarta is older, though.
It looks older.
Drez and Ellie went there and said, like, it was,
Mid.
yeah, kind of, they probably felt the same way you feel about the DoubleTree. So then
Yeah,
I would,
I'll have to
then I
read the
would,
reviews
then I
on
would
it.
do the Conrad.
The Conrad, for the sake of being a Conrad, is almost like not like I don't know how I would pass it up. Right.
Oh yeah, the Conrad's amazing.
Yeah.
There's a Curio in Cancun downtown,
I saw that.
the fives, and that usually always has really good rates too.
Really?
Yeah.
I just don't know
that's
if I
cool.
want to stay anywhere other than somewhere with a beach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
that's
There's
kind of
also the
drawback.
all-inclusive adults only Hilton in Cancun.
I'd do
and-
that.
Yeah, Breck said that's like his favorite
Really?
all-inclusive ever. Yeah. Also, we've got that. Megan and I have owned that thing, Unlimited Vacation Clubs.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And they have all those amazing resorts, all-inclusive. And there's one in Cabo, and Cabo's super fun. That's where I just came from.
I need to check. I keep forgetting our stash rates.
And it's downtown. It's in the marina, and it is like a fun, lively hotel. I
Sick.
was just looking it up for a friend of ours who was
Cool.
going for his honeymoon.
Nice.
So you should check those too.
I'll have to
They've got a
look.
bunch of options, and they're
Yeah.
amazing too.
The moral of what I was trying to get at with talking about the Hilton that I stayed at, we really had a great experience at the hotel. Like, I can't speak ill of it, but I do think by and large, a lot of hotels have the problem where they think so big that the small stuff is neglected.
Yeah, because if you think about what you're frustrated about, all of it is an easy fix.
Right.
New linens, power washed building. That's it.
Linen shouldn't be an excuse for a Hilton either,
No.
because you get the HSM network.
Yeah.
Buying those should just be like an Amazon subscribe and save. You know,
Yeah.
like you repurchase those every year or whatever.
Yeah, each of the things you're complaining about are incredibly easy fixes. It's not like you'd have to bring in some hotelier expert to fix it, right?
And
That
now's
is-
a great time to do it because it's their off season.
Yeah.
Right? Bring someone in and power wash it. I mean, the whole building needed a power wash. Like, it wasn't like just in certain areas.
Shout out to Matt at Accent Painting. Maybe we can get him out to
Yeah.
Hawaii and
He
get
should
that thing
go.
repainted.
Mad at Accent Painting. Get out there and fix that thing up. And I asked who owned that hotel, and it's independent. It's not like a management company or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
And so I was like, dudes, like, they could exponentially get bigger rates. Like, the room that we stayed in was really high quality.
Yeah, it looked amazing. The video you sent looked awesome.
The view was amazing, right? Like, we had this green rolling hill of Hilo in the background. We were a short walk from the downtown. There's a great restaurant right down the street. The biggest botanical gardens in the U.S. outside of Japan were literally right next door to us.
That's an interesting thing you said.
Freaking
The
weird.
biggest botanical gardens in the U.S. outside of Japan.
I guess I'm trying. Yeah, that's a good point. The biggest botanical gardens outside of Japan. That's what it is.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, outside of Japan was right down the street. You know what else was funny about that place? They had these wild cats.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know what. Maui has chickens. The Big Island's got cats.
Got cats.
Hundreds.
Oh, wow.
The place right next to us.
To where it was like a nuisance?
No, they were dope.
Okay.
Yeah, they came. We'd get up and watch the sunset every morning. They had a little dock, so we just like get some chairs and put them at the end of the dock. And we had this one cat. You know that video drinking out of cups?
No.
You've seen it. It's the lizard guy.
Oh, yeah. Not my chair, not my problem.
Not my chair, not my problem.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
So we had just watched that. I showed it to Kayla for the first time. Like,
Oh,
a week ago, and
what a treat for her.
Oh, she'd never seen it. She thinks it's so funny. So this one cat came and he jumped out of the tree. So we called it the Tree Meister. He came and hung out with us the whole trip. It was awesome.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So they got feral cats, but just even more funny. So right next door to this hotel is an abandoned hotel.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, man, whoever owns this hotel should buy that land, which I would imagine they haven't, because that land has got to be freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Plus, you'd have to demolish that hotel. I mean, it's
Well, I don't know. I mean, that one, where the new Marriott is in Vegas, that's going to be the Fountain Blue. That structure was there for 10 years, just exposed. I thought for sure
oh really?
it would be like unusable, but they used all the main
Wow,
structure
that's shocking.
built around it.
I would even say this one is almost unusable, but I'll bet it's been there for. It looks old. Like, I'll bet
Interesting.
it's been abandoned for 10 years.
What a crazy thing. How can you not make a hotel work on the coast of Hawaii?
That's what I was thinking, right? So if it was me, if I owned that and had infinite money, I'd buy that land, level that hotel, and then I'd put 2-bedroom suites all along it
Yeah.
with a big pool, kind of like at the Biltmore, the JFK pool.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I'd put that. those all around that with the pool, and then a walkway out to the ocean. There's no beach there. It's all volcanic rock.
Oh, yeah, right.
But it's very picturesque. Like you could build something awesome there. And I'd make it just like the premier suites at the DoubleTree. Or I'd change it to a curio.
Yeah,
Take it through a PIP and make it a curio.
Interesting. I wonder how much that land is. Okay, well, let's get to our 4 best practices to handle and prevent angry guests.
Yeah, we've got a lot of these. The perfect way to get this started is just to really manage expectations. So one thing that we find is that when guests are frustrated, they're pissed off, they're angry for whatever reason, and you're hearing about it, it's because expectations were not set properly right out the gate.
Yeah.
And so those expectations can range from the services that you offer, having high quality photos so they know what they're getting. If your property is like a mid-tier property, like a 2 or 3 star, don't make it so amazing online that people think they're coming into this 5-star resort.
Yeah, you don't want your digital experience to be better than the actual experience.
Correct, exactly. So set proper communication and proper expectations, and a lot of that can just be from like your pre-arrival instructions. So send out emails like this is what to expect. If you offer full service, make sure that's included in your message. If you don't, make sure it's either like hinted at or talked about. Give clear instructions on where to park, how to check in, what your policies are. Just set the stage so that way, if there is any expectation that goes wrong or people get frustrated, you can always lead back to that. But that way, there's no miscommunication leading into it.
And that's why we use AI to send it out to them. So there's like we send them an email, we send them a text message, and if they don't have a phone, if they're international, we'll send it to a WhatsApp. Like we have all these safety parameters in place. So that way they always have the information, because you don't want them to arrive and be like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Especially our properties, they don't have a front desk. Then they're just like walking around aimlessly, like who's going to help me? How do I get in? When can I check in?
Totally.
We're having all of that communication with them pre-arrival. So that way, by the time they get there, it's a seamless transition.
Yeah. Expectation is the root of all disappointment.
Absolutely.
So
100%.
Yeah. Make sure that that's properly set beforehand.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Number 2 is to check in mid-stay. So if you've got a multi-night stay, it's so important to check in, because oftentimes a guest can be frustrated and they won't even let you know. And so then they check out, they leave a review on TripAdvisor. I didn't have enough towels and I was so frustrated and it was a terrible experience. So when you check in and say, how's your stay going? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate it? What could we do to make your stay better? Well, then that provides the opportunity for us to resolve any potential issue and fix it before they leave, right? So in that scenario, if they didn't have enough towels and we asked and they let us know and we're able to remedy that, well, that's not going to now make it onto a review platform because you solved their solution. But you've got to give them an opportunity to express if there's something that's fallen short of their expectations so we can fix it before they leave.
Totally. You may be even able to catch it and turn it into a good experience that becomes a 5-star.
Absolutely.
Review,
where it's like, oh, my internet wasn't working and I was so frustrated because I needed to get work done.
Right.
They sent someone right over, took care of it, fixed it, and I was able to get everything done.
That happened to us, actually. Our freaking fire alarm started chirping in the middle of the night.
Oh, terrible.
And they had texted and was like, if there's anything we can do, let us know. Pick the phone right up, call them. They're like, no worries. That guy was there in 2 minutes.
That's awesome.
Swap that thing out. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be the worst.
Yeah, it was terrible. But it ended up being fine. It's such an afterthought that I didn't even think about it until now. Right?
When I got back from Mexico that night, my alarm went off in my bedroom. And my ceilings are 10 feet, so I had to get a freaking ladder. And I never touched it before. So I get off, I get the battery out, I put a new battery in, twist it back up. Oh, and first I pressed a button because I thought that's where the battery was. Set off every alarm in the house.
Nice.
And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then I get the battery put in it, take the ladder down, put the ladder away, get in bed. What do I hear?
Chirping.
Chirp. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So that battery must have not been
good either,
or I'm just an idiot. I don't know. So I got the ladder back out, took it off, and I put it in a drawer in the pantry.
I've done that before. I think everyone's guilty.
I was like, Megan, you can take care of it tomorrow.
I think everyone's done that. You just take off the old. I had a house when I first moved to St. George that stupid thing chirped no matter what, and I just took it off one day. I was like, see ya. It was in a guest bedroom anyway.
I was like, I'll be fine.
Okay. Tip number 3 is to check in post stay. So let's say someone is frustrated. They don't let you know mid-stay, or you don't offer them the opportunity to let you know mid-stay, and they leave. We use artificial intelligence to send out a survey that asks what it's like. Especially we'll send it out through TripAdvisor, but you can check in post-stay. Now, like if worse comes to worse and they leave a bad review, we'll get into some solutions on that, but you definitely want to check in post-stay.
Because oftentimes a lot of people, if they're frustrated, will just let you know.
Right.
And if you provide them the outlet to inform you of their frustration, then that's as far as it goes.
For sure.
Right. And then they won't go to that platform and put you on blast.
Yeah, and it's really important to make sure that if they are frustrated, that they don't make it to TripAdvisor, or if they do, that their concerns have been resolved, and if they are going to take it to TripAdvisor, that those concerns are resolved and you're getting like a 4 or 5 star review, right? Ideally a 5-star. So do everything you can pre, during, and post to make sure that the review is going to be good at the end.
Really, it just comes down to having a bunch of open communication with them. That's really all that is.
Sure.
It's communication every step of the way.
Yeah, and that always goes back to number one, just having good communication right out the gate.
Yeah.
Letting them know.
Absolutely.
Like for us, the AI, the text that comes through, we let them know you can call this number, you can text this number. The communication lines are open.
And they know they're talking to a real person, which people love.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Okay, so number 4 is, what do you do when you have a problem? How do you solve that? And I think the thing to think of when you're in that predicament is, how would you want it to be solved if you were the guest? So if you were that guest and you did, because there are things that happen that are bad, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So if you were that guest and that thing happened to you, what would you want the solution to be? And the thing is, if you think of the bigger picture in mind, sometimes you may have to comp their stay, or you may have to give them 50% off their stay. And that little spend is so much more worth it than not doing anything and allowing them to leave frustrated, because once you take care of it, now you could potentially get a good review. They could recommend you to other people. They may come back and stay with you again.
Yep.
If you don't take care of it, they're going to let sure that to make everyone aware of the fact that they had this terrible experience.
Totally.
And that damage is so much more expensive to counteract than the cost of just
And a lot longer to counteract. Too.
absolutely, you know, than the cost of just taking care of it for them. So I'd say don't ever be short-sighted. And and of course you don't want to have to comp an entire stay. But depending on what it was that had happened to that guest while they were there, sometimes that warrants it. And so I just think about how you would want it to be resolved for you, and then offer that solution to the guest.
Yeah, there's a great book called The Purple Cow, which is written by Seth Godin, or Godin, I don't know how to say his last name. But he talks about how people are sneezers, for positive or negative. And so if someone has a bad experience, they will go around and sneeze like a virus, and that will spread.
Yep.
This is true for everyone. Like my dad hates Blockbuster Video. They don't exist anymore, right? But growing up, it was Hollywood Video or Blockbuster Video.
Yep, I remember.
The good old days, right?
God, those were good times.
It was just pure times. That man hated Blockbuster Video because they sent him a big gnarly late fee. And I don't know the whole story behind it, but the man hated it.
Yeah.
He also didn't like Wendy's. You know where we did not go?
Wendy's and Blockbuster.
Freaking Blockbuster and Wendy's. I still never, obviously can't go to Blockbuster.
Yeah.
I never rented a single video from Blockbuster. My friends, I would go with my friends and I would let them rent it, but they did not get Halford money. That story's changed now. But Wendy's, not a chance. I'd always hear the burgers used to be good. They're terrible now. And I'd be like, okay, the burgers must be terrible.
Yeah, right. Yeah, not worth the exposure of a bad experience. And also, you just don't want to not take care of your guests. Like if they entrusted in you and spent the money to come stay at your property, and we did not deliver on our side, then we want to make that right.
Totally. Yep. And it's so much easier to fix that and then have a good sneezer that goes out and spreads that good message, right? They're resolving that for you. And then they're spreading a better message where my freaking alarm was chirping or whatever, and they came and fixed it, and you're able to share a positive experience, which shows that they went above and beyond.
You're so right. So often a bad experience can turn into a positive one because you were able to solve a solution.
Yes, literally.
You know, where if there were no bad things, then there was never any opportunity for you to show that you're willing to go above and beyond to make sure you get it remedied.
Totally.
So you can turn a negative into a positive.
Yep.
And that's it. So those are the 4 ways to best handle angry guests. That wraps up the show today, unless there's anything that you wanted to share before we leave.
That wraps it up.
Okay, well, make sure that you are following us on Instagram at Virtual GM Podcast. Like and subscribe on YouTube. And then, of course, our podcast is anywhere that podcasts are found, pretty much for the most part, right?
Literally everywhere.
And make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, download. We really appreciate all of your guys' support.
Leave us a review.
Absolutely. Please leave us a review and tune in next week for another episode of Virtual GM.
Thanks, guys.